Thanks for joining us for what we hope will be a long series of shared recipes and reminiscences. We thought we'd kick off with the humble ANZAC biscuit. Now, like the Lamington, there's a lot of varied history relating to the origin of the original ANZAC biscuit and what its recipe is made up of. Now, some say it dates back to mid-1800 and others early 1900, 1920-ish. Now, I'm not going to give you the definitive answer, but just some fun facts and some of my favourite memories of what this iconic recipe means to me.
Imagine this. The year is circa 1918. The world is at war. The longer it goes on, the more shortages there are. Ships from Australia to the front lines mostly weren't refrigerated and only travelled at about 18 k's an hour. Families wanting to send their boys comforts from home could only send items that wouldn't spoil. One theory is that a group of wives, and let's face it, they were probably CWA, were worried about the poor nutrition that their boys were getting and so looked at what long-lasting ingredients could be mixed to make a palatable ration.
Well, eggs were out, not just because of the short shelf life, but also because of food rationing. And so they came up with rolled oats, sugar, plain flour, butter, golden syrup or treacle, bicarb and boiling water. Now, I know some of you are going to say, hey, what about the coconut? Well, the first coconut recipe that food historian Alison Reynolds could find was in 1924 in the Anchor Ann cookbook. And that's the recipe that's nearest to the recipe we all love today. Sorry for all of those of you that like them chewy, but originally the biscuits were baked hard and, to ensure they remained crisp, were packed in used tins such as Billy Tea tins. Now, these tins were airtight, so no moisture in the atmosphere was able to soften and spoil them in their long transit. You can see some of these tins appearing in the shops as replicas of the ones from earlier years. Now, the beauty of the ANZAC recipe is that it's simply a melt, mix, shape and bake recipe. That makes it a great recipe for kids. Today, I'm making the original Carole Moore's pre-1920 family recipe. Now, this recipe was discovered in Carole Moore's family recipe notebook, compiled before 1920, and is believed to be one of the earliest recipes. So, let's put the oven on at 150 and get started.
We'll mix a couple of cups of oats, a cup of plain flour and half a cup of sugar, and we'll get them mixed all well and good. We'll melt half a cup of butter and then add a generous tablespoon of golden syrup. Mix this until it's dissolved and cook until boiled. You can do this on the stove, but I'm cheating and I'm using the microwave shortcut. Okay, once that's done, we'll dissolve a teaspoon of bicarb in 2 tablespoons of boiling water and add it to this butter mix. Just give it a good stir until it froths right up and throw it straight into the bowl and mix it all up. Now for the great messy part. Take a spoon worth of mix, roll it into balls. Lay it on the trays about 5 centimetres apart, then we can flatten it with a fork and pop it in the oven for about 20 minutes. Depends on your oven. The shorter they're cooked, the chewier they'll be. Then, once they're nice and golden brown, pull them out, cool them off, pop them in a container.
Right, while they're cooking, to me, it's always amazing how food or a certain smell can trigger long ago memories. For me, growing up, ANZAC Day was always a special time. I remember the whole community coming together at the hall for the march and service, and then for a potluck lunch out the back where the kids were told, nick off and go play, while the wives sat around chatting and the blokes gathered around the back in a ring to play two up. What we'd like to know is, what's your favourite recipe or even memory? for Anzac Day. Well, that's all I've got for you. Remember, leave your comments down below. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time.